cannot. Every time we start Better Together, Wade is throwing something at me that it's either hair or I don't know. And tonight he never wears necklaces.
I never wear necklaces.
And I look over and I'm like, do you have a necklace on?
I'm gonna wear it.
And he pulls it out and it...
I just don't think it's me.
And now he doesn't think...
Let us know if it's me.
Maybe it should go inside the shirt.
I don't think it's... Yeah, that's not...
Sorry,
right.
guys. This is just what Better Together is always about. Chase is over here dying.
I mean, it's quarantine. Like, you gotta
But why are you going to try new things for the people on the live, like, right before I see you, seconds before I see you? Oh, my gosh.
It's exciting. Gotta keep it going.
Well, happy Wednesday. It is hump day. And we hope that y'all have been having a great week. We are so pumped for tonight's episode. We always... Are you
Sorry. Yeah.
We always love talking to our good friends Abby and Brandon, and they will be here in just a few minutes. But as you all know, they're my heroes because they have not one, not two, not three, but 4 children, people. 4.
Lots.
And so they are getting the kids to bed right now, and so they're going to be in here in just a couple of minutes. So before we do that, we just wanted to check in with you guys, see how y'all are doing. So... how are y'all hanging in there? Seriously, in the comments, let us know. Use an emoji, whatever makes you happy.
What's going on with y'all?
How's things going? Wade is monitoring comments on Facebook. I'm going to monitor them on Instagram. I can see what you guys are commenting. It is Wednesday. It is another day in quarantine, and that is that. Today, I taught an ELA live lesson on the Get Your Teach On page, and it's all about science. It's all integrated with science, and so my heart is just so happy today, which I think is what, like, it really started making me think, like, do things that make you happy during the day. And so that is what I did today when I taught that lesson. Is I was like, I love science.
Sorry.
We thought he was ready.
I'm trying to watch the comments here, guys, on the Facebook.
And so I love science, so I incorporated that into my lesson, and it just made me all kinds of excited. So
you did a really good job with that.
It was a lot of fun.
Very interactive. Part 2 tomorrow. Is that right?
I don't know if is Instagram okay right now? No. So it's just you, Facebook friends. All right. So
why don't you end Instagram and come back to Instagram?
Let me give this one more try, guys.
Yeah, try it.
Give us 1 second. Facebook, y'all know the drill. Y'all are always on point.
Press end now.
It's just the Instagram that has trouble over here.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Chase is doing the Facebook.
Let's try this one more time. I am on Wade King's Wi-Fi.
It should be good.
Right.
And here we come.
Let's try it one more time.
You are now live.
Testing 1, 2. Instagram, can you hear us? It still doesn't look like it is going to be hanging in there. So
nope, you got.
It might be all Facebook tonight.
Oh,
maybe.
Wait.
Maybe Instagram. Are you working?
Instagram's
Are you working?
coming.
Are you okay, Instagram? Okay.
Here we are.
I think that literally so many people are trying to do lives on Instagram because there's nothing else to do that Instagram just like crashes and doesn't know how to handle it. So checking in with you guys before we dive into what we have for you tonight, which we are going to be kind of continuing what I started on Monday, focusing on mental health, focusing on creating a space where everything is okay to talk about. It's okay to talk about the fact that we struggle, that we have areas of weakness, that we're not okay, that we're not feeling normal. All of those things are perfectly fine, and that's what we're going to focus on again tonight. But for those of you guys who want to check in with those of you doing the Quarantine Challenge,
getting it going.
And if you've never heard of it before, come on, guys, get with the program. It's like the #1 challenge that's out. I'm kidding. It's not. It is not. But we did give you guys a challenge 2 episodes ago, so last Friday, where we talked about setting habits or creating habits and setting goals. So we want to check in. Let us know in the comments, how has that been going for you guys? What have you read, or what have you learned, or what have you tried, or what habits are you creating? We want to give you a big shout out, give you a big high five. So let us know how that's going for you.
How are you doing with your
habits? My habits have been pretty solid today. I did not get to exercise, so you win some, you lose some, and I try to make that.
Because would you say 7 days?
7 days a week for 40. Well, we did go for a 40-minute walk with Maverick.
That's true.
I just a lot of times make sure that I exercise outside of that. That's like my backup plan. So at least I had the backup plan. But today I just had a lot on my plate that I had to get done. So it didn't happen today. Not every day is perfect. The next day you pick up right where you left off.
Did you drink your water today?
I have been drinking my water today, and I've been.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
You can even ask Chase. I make sure I drink water before I drink a Dr. Pepper.
Oh yeah, I do remember you.
But I've also been working on the kitchen, so I have got a whole drawer organized. I ordered some pots and pans, organizational stuff from Amazon, so that should be coming in. Wade has been, remember on the challenge we said that, throughout the whole month, focus on learning something new, whether that's to bake or to cook a certain dish or to try something new or garden or whatever it is, or to design stuff on the computer or whatever you want to learn. But he ordered an acoustic guitar.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
And he's been learning like songs every night. It's been so nice to hear him play music again.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's hard, but I'll get bored. And then I'll go to the next song.
It's like such a piece of who he is. And so I love seeing that.
I get bored, go to the next song.
I love seeing him doing that again and with Maverick. So yeah, quarantine challenge is going pretty well. My habits are pretty much in place and established.
I did a lot of housework today.
He did.
I'm tired. Well, I taught a lesson this morning with my kids because I'm still a teacher. We do virtual learning. So I did a lesson today with my students. What did we do today? We did human rights and the civil rights movement. We started that. And then I cleaned out a car inside and out. And then I cleaned the bathroom. I gave you a little nice makeup stand. I gave her a nice little makeup stand right there in the middle. Because who takes over the whole bathroom?
I walk into my bathroom today.
I have no sink or mirror. So I reorganized everything for her.
I walk into my bathroom today.
It's nice and neat.
And there is this random table
it's nice.
that has been in our garage sitting in the middle of our entire bathroom area. I don't even know what type of table.
Chase, you got a picture of it? Pull it up real quick.
He does not have a picture of it.
Just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just kidding. That's joking.
It is literally sitting in the middle of the bathroom floor with my makeup on top of it. Like
some of it. Just her makeup bag. Because I'm like, that's what she uses, so she can just
I'm
reach
not
over.
Complaining because he did clean the bathroom, but this table in the center of the bathroom is just not going to cut it.
Guys, I just need to be able to brush my teeth without having to go like this to move everything out of the way.
The bathroom is my area of weakness because I just get ready and leave all the things out. I don't ever put them away.
Which I'm fine with.
I don't have any organizational
need a little bit of area.
technique, so maybe that's what I need to add to my quarantine challenge. So let us know, what have you done this week? What have you accomplished? What have you started working towards? Have you read an amazing book? Listened to a great podcast? What do you recommend for us if we are looking for things? And if you're not doing the quarantine challenge, now's the time. And you can get,
They're saying that they
fun organizers.
Chrissy's been on her treadmill for 25 to 30 minutes.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I know a lot of y'all been DMing me.
I'm reading the comments.
Your exercises and the things that you're doing, which is so incredible. So
the habits are getting better. Been drinking more water. I've been drinking a lot of water. That means I use the bathroom a lot.
We're going to be getting to the end of this quarantine and feel great about ourselves.
Cooking a lot of new recipes. I hear you.
I love it.
Yeah.
Wade's been doing that too. So if you want to join us for the quarantine challenge, and we named it that because you do have the time now. Now is the time. Like now is the time to actually do the things that you never had time for before. You can get those things at hopeandwakeking.com/live. It's never too late to start. We didn't even date the calendar. It's just about creating habits, and there's no better time to start than today. I know it's hump day. It's weird. People think it's so weird to start something midweek, but it's not, because if you put it off till Sunday, you're probably going to put it off till the next Sunday, and then something's going to happen that week and you're going to put it off. Just start. Even if you mess up every single day, even if you don't get even 50% of your habits accomplished or whatever it is, at least it's better than doing nothing at all. I tell teachers at our conference, Wade actually gave me I was like, I'm a poet and didn't even know it. I always say, it's better to do something small than to do nothing at all. So, even if you set habits and you don't get to them and you're not able to check those off every single day, still do something. So that is a check-in with the quarantine challenge. But tonight, we are really excited just to kind of chat, like I said, with Abby and Brandon. They're going to be in here in just a little while. But Wade and I are going to kind of kick things off. And on Monday, if you didn't join us, I would love for you, if you were a female, to go back and watch Monday night's episode.
I mean, if you're a guy.
Or even if you're a guy. I mean, we talked about some really good stuff for guys on there too. But Monday night, we talked all about the journey after the 4th trimester of really being a mom and having that baby and what that is like and how difficult and challenging and the realities of that, but also how afraid women and mothers are to speak up for those things, and just to be willing to admit that you're struggling. Be willing to admit that you're not feeling normal, you're not okay, you're not happy, you're not what all of these typical perfect mothers are supposed to look like. And so we just kind of wanted to continue that conversation tonight, because it's not just in motherhood. these feelings of perfection, these feelings of living up to an expectation, the pressures that we are under, what social media does to us as educators. I say all the time that social media is one of the best things that's happened to education, and it's by far one of the worst things that's happened to education because it causes us to set unrealistic expectations of ourselves. It causes us to compare ourselves to people who we're not even like at all. And so we just wanted to kind of continue the conversation tonight about mental health and about struggles with anxiety, panic attacks, that is me, depression. Obviously, I typically do not struggle with depression. I did when I was postpartum, but that is something that Wade has to face. And so we kind of wanted just to open up conversation and dialogue about this tonight. And I also had a lot of people reach out to me and ask me how you did after we had Maverick. So do you want to kind of start a little bit?
Yeah, what do you mean?
I mean, because obviously I shared my story about just, he was here, he lived it, but just how it made me a different person. Yeah. I was just struggling mentally, emotionally.
Oh, dealt with.
Yeah, and so everybody was asking because I think a lot of people think, it's just women because it's hormone related and we're the ones that had the baby. But I think that is such a false reality. I think that postpartum depression is probably just as severe and equal in males as it is in females, even though you didn't have the hormonal side of things.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was. Both of us kind of prepared for the unknown because we never had a kid before. And I think anytime a life-changing event happens in your life, it takes a toll on you. And it's very difficult and it's challenging that way. So knowing that ahead of time, I knew going into it that I wanted to be that husband and that dad that was just, whatever you need, I got it. Full House. Hope's a big fan of Full House. Remember when Jesse and Becky was pregnant and Becky wanted all of these different types of foods and he was
watermelon.
Watermelon.
Yes,
yeah. There you go.
I remember this episode.
But I kept thinking about that episode for some reason, and it's weird that I was thinking about that. But I was like, I'll do whatever I need to do because at the end of the day, I'm not carrying this kid. I don't have to deliver this kid, so I'm going to do whatever I can to support her and Maverick. And so, knowing that, at the beginning, it was fine. But then when she started to have those moments where the anxiety was taking over, the depression was taking over, it was really difficult because I had to hold it together for both of us for the most part. But now I have Hope who's here, who's trying to breastfeed, and it's very hard and it's difficult. But then she's also pretty much having to care for somebody that she's never had to care for before in this capacity. And then on the other end, I'm having to make sure that Maverick's over here and I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. So it was a lot. I think that just like females, and we are trying to be the perfect mom, they're trying to be the perfect dad and the perfect spouse, and there is this whole overarching idea of what the perfect family looks like. And I think that when that's not communicated, because I didn't want to say anything to him because I didn't want to upset him in any way, and he didn't want to say anything to me, and so we just both kind of bottled up our feelings and bottled up our emotions. I think it made it extremely difficult, and I think that he definitely bottled up way more than I did. I don't think it was so much not communicating with each other with help or you need this, you need that. I think it was more what we were feeling at the time because I was totally fine with doing whatever I had to do, and I think she was too.
Yeah.
I think it was just...
You get on autopilot.
Yeah, it was autopilot. Not... I mean, I honestly, in the morning, I would think to myself, man, we're like a football team right now to where she has her role, I have my role. It's like wham, bam, thank you. As soon as he got on formula, that was. And so it was, even before that.
Yeah.
We already had, it was like an innate thing where I would go downstairs, I would get the pump, I would come back upstairs, I'd make sure that this is clean. She would do this while she's doing that. I'm getting Maverick's diaper ready. And then all of a sudden he's back in his bed and he's back in his crib and we're ready to go. But we never had time to communicate on how we were feeling and what else we could do. And it was just one of those things where you're in it.
When you get on autopilot, you don't, like you said, you're just worried about getting from point A to point B. And it's like, everybody has. Like, you've gotten to this stoplight, or you've been driving somewhere.
You don't know
you've
how
been
you got
driving
there.
to work, and you're like, how did I just get here? And that is freaky, because it's like, there are people on the road aside from ourselves. But I think that that's almost what it becomes like, and you become very numb to everything, and you're just on autopilot. You're just getting from one point to the next point. But the problem is that you are just hiding all of those feelings, and you're not feeling anything, and then I think it just all catches up to you.
I'll say, like, it would hit, because I would have the morning, like, I would take him in the morning, if it, like, I don't even know, like 6 o'clock or 6:30, whenever he would wake up, I don't know, but we would come downstairs, it was just me and him, and that's kind of when it would all sink in of, oh, this is overwhelming. And all these memories started coming back from my childhood, and just thinking about, oh my gosh, how could this have happened? And that's those moments when you're alone and those quiet times that we really never had during the day or at the night. And so all those things kind of started sinking in that way.
Yeah.
And
for those of you, that you may never have heard Wade's story, but he talks about it often, but he was abused as a child. And so as a spouse, I never even thought how his past played a role in how he fathered Maverick, and I never even thought to ask him, how are you doing with this? How are you handling it? And like he said, so many emotions. I didn't even know this until Maverick was probably 4 months old, where he finally told me, about how he was feeling. And every time he would see Maverick, he would kind of have flashbacks to his childhood of when he was abused, and how could somebody do this to a child? Yeah. And so, there were a lot of things that I think if we had communicated them, the pain and the suffering might not have been as bad. And so, you don't know.
I won't put it all on that either. It's one of those things to where throughout my whole life, I never received counseling for any of that until I was a grown adult, like 2 years ago. And so you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And that's one of those situations.
Or even what you're feeling and why you're feeling it if you've never felt that way before. Yeah. It's very new.
Yeah, so it was just one of those things to where, again, when any huge event happens, that can be a trigger for whatever weaknesses you may have. But hopefully, you
just
have
like
a spouse
this
or a family member. Yeah, or friends,
the same is true right now. I know a lot of people are feeling, feelings and emotions that they've never felt before, because we've never been in something like this in our time on this planet. And so, like Wade said, any big new event can spark triggers that you don't even recognize. And I know for me that, I was feeling fine during this whole pandemic, and I was like, oh, I've got this. I was actually kind of surprised that I was dealing with it so well, because I don't usually deal with problems that are outside of my control very well. But then this past week, I had a huge panic attack, and it just kind of jumped on me like a bear, because you know how it can rear its ugly face at any point in time. But again, it's because I was trying to not even face the fact that maybe I was feeling this way, or that it's even still for me, I still struggle with the fact that, it's okay for me to feel like this. I'm allowed to feel like this. I still feel like that's an area, oh, you're being weak. It's still something that I have to fight in my mind all the time. So it's not like you just overcome something and then you're over it. Right. When you're dealing with a mental struggle or mental health, it's something that is literally, you have to coach yourself, remind yourself all the time. I find myself coaching myself all the time through my panic and through my anxiety. It's not just something that's like, oh, I'm cured. Okay, oh, I'm good. It's something that you constantly have to, be in conversation and communication about.
Where she's had that moment just recently happen, like I and Chase and Hope will both tell you, like, there are probably at least 2 days out of the week where I am just not myself at all, especially during this whole pandemic thing. I'm not able to have my outlets. I'm not able to go and wrestle with people, have that human contact that I've always had since I was like 13 or 14 years old. And so it's not that I'm super depressed or anything. It's just funky days. And so, but that's a weekly thing. And so it's a constant. And so you get over it. You guys help a ton. Stay in community, stay with people, have a purpose, whatever you're trying to do. But it's one of those things to where it happens, and you have to be able to be like, just not having a good day. It's okay to not have a good day.
Right. And a lot of people are like, but y'all always seem so happy and you're happy people.
And we are happy people. We are happy people.
Yeah. I mean, that you don't have to, again, both of these things are not like, oh, you're always a depressed person or you're always a happy. And I feel like if the pressure is put on you to always be a happy person, there's your problem. Because that is not reality for any human whatsoever. But one of the big things that, and I can't wait to talk to Abby and Brandon about this too, but one of the big things that a lot of people message myself about, Amelia about, from Monday's episode is when she talked about how she, during her postpartum journey, and this is something that Wade and I have gone to therapy about with a counselor when he was really, really struggling with depression. And one of the biggest things that they told us, I think that made the hugest difference is to, and Amelia talked about it on Monday night, is to explicitly state what you need from the other person. Like, we are not in high school, we are not in college where we hope that a man can read our minds or vice versa. And so I think that was such a powerful piece of the conversation because it's something that you and I have worked on. We struggle with big time. I still sometimes wonder, like, why can't he just understand what I need? But you can't have those feelings if you're not willing to explicitly state, and I think he sometimes struggles with it more than I do. But explicitly stating what you need from your spouse emotionally. A lot of times it's easy to say, hey, can you take the trash out? Hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that? And that task list is an easy part, like the honey-do list. That's an easy part. But to remember that you need to explicitly state emotionally what you need from your spouse the same way that you would write a honey-do list or a task list. And so that's one thing that Wade and I have worked a lot on is, you could...
Yeah, sorry.
So, I'm like, you're distracting me. One thing that Wade and I have worked a lot on is I need for you to pay attention to me right now. That's what I need for you to do, okay?
That's scary.
No, but explicitly stating our needs. And so that's not always easy. I mean,
it's never easy. And I think it's harder for guys. And I don't like to put, like, gender stereotypes on things. But, I mean, it is what it is. That's how we're wired. That's how culture has defined us, and so you don't ever want to say like,
but it does get easier.
I need that, but yeah, I mean, it absolutely does. Yeah. So
once you kind of like break that barrier and you start even trying to have those conversations, things just get easier, and then you know kind of what triggers to look for, what kind of behaviors, what kind of attitudes to look for, and then I'll pull up the conversation away and say, hey, are you okay? No, really, we're going to talk about this. Are you okay? And that kind of opens up those lines of communication. So I thought that was one of the most powerful takeaways that I had, that even I needed to be reminded of on Monday night was, you know, especially through this time of quarantine, especially through this, because I don't think we realize how big of an event this is in our lives. I think we're like, oh, we're just staying at home. You know, we're just here at home. At least we're safe. At least we're healthy. This is a traumatic life event where our entire world has been completely changed, I think, forever. Do I think that we're going to recover from this? Yes. Do I think that, you know, eventually things will get back to a normal feeling? Perhaps, but I think it's going to be a new normal. I think it's going to be different. And I think that if we neglect to see the reality of what is, it's eventually going to hit us in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, and we're going to learn a lot from it. And so just knowing that now, and I think it's kind of all sunk in for a lot of people that, yeah, this isn't just a vacation anymore. I mean, people are being affected. You've seen it. We've seen it. I mean, not only with schools, but with businesses and restaurants and hospitals. I mean, it's just crazy. And so understanding that a change is going to happen no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, they're even saying you're not supposed to shake hands with people when this is done. And that kind of makes sense. I mean, I'm like, oh man, we've been taught in the South to shake hands all the time, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just do what you can. Try to stay as positive as you can.
Yeah.
But I know that a lot of people are tired of hearing, oh, we got to stay positive. We're always happy. Oh, we need to do, what are you going to regret when this is all over? Y'all, I mean, we're still trying to survive during this.
Yeah.
Like, now is not the thriving part. We're trying to survive. We'll get back to thriving again.
Yeah.
But,
and I think, too, if it's something that you struggle with your spouse, and you struggle with saying, well, I just forget to explicitly state what I need, then have time every single night for, until you, just like any habit, this is literally a habit that you have to create with your spouse. And so every night, even if it's 5 minutes before bed or whatever time you set, we're going to have a check-in together. We're going to sit down. We're going to put the phones away. We're not going to think about our to-do list. We're not going to talk about what we have to do tomorrow. Let's sit down right now and check in with each other emotionally. I think that is one thing that we did back when Wade was struggling and back when we were going through therapy, is we sat down and we had those check-ins. That forced us to really talk about the hard things, to check on each other emotionally, to have those conversations. And just like with anything, the more that you practice something, the easier that it becomes. And then it's something that you can have just on a whim. Okay, let's have this conversation now. We need to talk about this. Let's talk about this. So I think that is such an important thing, especially right now. Make time with your spouse to sit down at night, or make time, even if it's a friend and you say, hey, we're going to be accountable to one another, to check in on each other emotionally. I think that is such a good practice to show that I'm okay with saying I'm not okay. I'm fine with that.
The easiest thing to do, if it's 9 o'clock at night, put the stinking phone down.
Yeah.
Like, holy cow, what in the world are you going to do at 9 o'clock at night that can't wait until the very next morning?
Yeah.
And that is, that's a game changer right there.
Just putting the phone down, period. Not even at night.
Just putting it down.
Just putting it down. The other day when I was having my panic attack, and it was bad, y'all. It was a really bad one. Like, I tried to get on the elliptical. I tried to exercise it out. I tried to do all of the things, but I was just really, really struggling. And I promise you, at one point, I almost took my phone to Wade and said, hide this. Because what we want to do is fill our minds with something to keep us busy so that we don't focus on we don't want to deal with the pain. We don't want to deal with for me, my panic attacks are very scary for me. It's not even a painful thing. It's just I get very afraid. And so, putting that phone down and just recognizing the emotions that you're feeling and starting to talk about those, I think is one of the most important things that you can do. So one of the biggest keys for us has been that open line of communication, having those emotional check-ins, telling each other explicitly what you need from one another emotionally, as well as those tasks that you do every day. So so that's kind of a little bit of our background, our stories, the things that we face as a couple individually. Many of you have heard our stories before anyways.
And our stories, like we're just now figuring this stuff out, and so
we figure out something new every day.
It's not something that
as the world changes, as life changes, as you get older, as you add kids, every time you do something different and something changes, it's again like you have to start the whole process over. So I'm so excited to bring in two of my favorite people tonight because they have inspired. I've learned so much from them. They've inspired me so much, made me feel confident and comfortable in speaking out on my struggles. And that is Abby and Brandon Mullins. And so I'm going to bring them in on Instagram. Let me see if I can find them here. And we're going to have them on Facebook too. There she is. Yep. All right. Let's see if we can get them in here, if we can get sound and get all of the things working.
Here they are. There they are. We see you.
Hi. It's date night, guys.
It is. It's date night. Where's the good food?
I was about to say food, or should we pull out a board game or
a charcuterie board?
We could sit around a fire.
Fire pit would be nice.
Yeah.
Seriously. I'm so happy to see y'all's faces and just be able to spend a little bit of time with y'all tonight. It's just like, this is quarantine. I need this. I'm over it.
I wish I could just virtually hug you right now.
I texted Abby today. I said, I am over it. I'm over it. But thank you guys. Did y'all get all of your children to bed and or bribe them? I told Abby and Brandon to bribe them with candy and screen time.
Yes, we bribed them with a movie and popcorn.
Trolls. And, we rented Trolls, which is $19.99, but and it's to rent it, because it's out in the theaters, or it's supposed to be. So since it's not out in theaters and it's on Amazon Prime, you have to rent it for $19.99, which is way cheaper than taking a family of 6 to the movies.
Well, that's amazing. But if a kid goes to run through the screen, everybody's just going to know, okay, real life.
Great. We have a game plan. We have a game plan if that happens. So
you got
that's why they're the pros. I told y'all they have 4, so they're the pros. We're the rookies. We're just trying to figure it out.
You guys are doing a great job.
But we are so excited to talk with you guys. And so we just want to kind of, Wade and I know you guys were getting the kids situated, but we just kind of shared our backgrounds. Wade, his struggle with depression, my struggle with, anxiety and panic attack, which we've always kind of shared about a lot in our stories before. But you guys have been such an inspiration to us with your story that you said.
Yeah, not only an inspiration, but Brandon reached out to me after the national conference last year, just random text, and personally that meant the world to me. So thank you for, number one, Abby, for letting Brandon know, and then Brandon has always kind of checked on me to just make sure I'm good, and that's what this world's about. I mean, it's just one of those things. So
it's great to have other people in your corner aside from your spouse. Like, a spouse is one thing, and that's important, but you also need community outside of that, just to have those listening ears that doesn't pass judgment. So we're just going to turn it over to you guys and kind of let you guys share your story, your journey, and then we'll follow back up with some questions afterwards.
All right, sounds good. So we have been together for eternity, basically since we were babies.
21 years.
21 years. Brandon asked me out on my 16th birthday, so we've been dating for we've been together a long time.
Yeah.
And we got married 2006.
Yeah.
Had Beckham, which is our oldest. He's 11 in 2008. And then we adopted our daughter. She's 6 now. Her name is Faith. We thought we couldn't have any more kids. And then lo and behold,
we did.
2 more times.
Yes.
So we have 4 kids right now, which blows our minds.
Yeah.
Like, we can't even believe that. But in 2016, and we've been pretty vocal about this, we've been huge advocates for mental health since we had our own struggles. Brandon has struggled with...
if you're...
Diagnosed with bipolar.
Yeah, I was diagnosed with bipolar when I was 17 years old. Nobody really knew what that was in my family. Everybody just knew that I was kind of out of control, really. I was displaying things, impulsiveness, aggression. But also there were the lows too. I would sleep for 16 hours a day, only to get up to go to the bathroom. And so there was that also.
And that was really like early adulthood.
Yeah.
And so then when we got married, like, that kind of like all subsided. I don't want to say it subsided.
It really didn't, because I was taking, I've taken so many different types of medications throughout the years. When we first got married, I'd say when Beckham was maybe 1, 2 or something like that, I was taking a medication that made me sleep all the time. We had no idea what was going on until, years later, when I realized that the medication that I was taking made me sleep all the time.
Or he would wake up and drink an entire gallon of milk, and I'm not exaggerating, overnight. I'd wake up in the morning and be like, what happened? And he wouldn't remember, because it was like sleep drinking milk.
Sleepwalking,
yeah. So, yeah. And so then when we adopted our daughter, it was a very traumatic time for us, because she was a preemie, and so we spent a lot of time in the NICU. Yeah. And then so very quickly after that, we got pregnant with our son. And it was just kind of like the perfect storm. You hear a lot in the mental health world about triggers, which is only something that really is like new in our vocabulary, I would say, in the past 4 years. It's hard to believe it's been 4 years. Yeah. But we kind of have like before 2016 and after 2016.
Yes, before 2016, I'd say, there were so many things that led up to what happened in 2016. I remember when we first adopted Faith, she almost died right in front of us.
Several times.
A couple different times she did. But that really takes a toll on you mentally, even physically. You feel it inside of you. And really, we didn't ask for help. We didn't have anybody really in our quarters except for our families. So it was difficult for us. Made me anxious. You hear about post-traumatic or post-PTSD. It's.
And when you're in the moment, it's just like fight or flight. Yeah. Like, you are dealing with it in the moment, and you rise to the occasion, and then it's like the aftershock. Like, after all of that happened, it was like a spiral downward, especially for Brandon. I mean, I'm a small business owner, so I was doing my small business thing, parenting a medically fragile child. Beckham was about 7, and then we had a newborn. And I was so wrapped up in all of that I didn't see Brandon spiraling as I should. Instead of looking at it and being like, wow, like, he's on the verge of a mental breakdown, I saw it as, you're being a terrible husband. You are a terrible husband. You are a terrible father. Like, this is unacceptable. Why did God give me this? I just want it to be done, to be honest.
Yeah. So that takes us, I guess, to 2016. when in 2016 was awful. That was when I attempted to overdose on pills that I had, attempted suicide, and which is awful. Just even thinking about that, like I try not to think about that. I don't, but when I do, it just kind of makes me uncomfortable. But so that happened. I remember before all that happened, I wanted to cut. I would hold a blade up to my arm and want to do that. I was paranoid. This is it went past depression and anxiety. Like, I was paranoid. I thought people were following me. I thought that people were talking about me, things like that. So it was a really scary time. And I believed all those things. So
yeah, I actually took a job teaching kindergarten in the summer of 2016, and I was in the classroom setting up, and Brandon called me on the phone, and I held up the phone and I was like, "Hey," and we were in an argument or something at the time, and I really didn't even want to be hearing from him. Like, I was trying to get my classroom ready, just leave me alone. And he wasn't saying much on the other end. And I was like, "Are you okay?" And it was heavy breathing, not making a lot of sense. And it was at that point that I realized this is happening. I actually think that he is taking pills. I really think that's going on right now. Beckham was with me, and I immediately took him to my sister's house. I called the police because I wasn't anywhere close to our home at the time. And I knew that they could get there faster than I could. And thank God that they did. And it was hard. That was there's no other way to say it. It sucked. It was the worst time of my life. And you want to hide it. I remember Hope saying this the other night, and hers, "I'm fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. I got this under control. I am positive, and we're going to get through this. And this isn't my fault. We'll take care of it. Nobody needs to know." And that's what I did. Just sweep it all under the rug. Only our close family knew. I didn't tell my girlfriends about it. I had one girlfriend that I told, and you hesitate to tell people, not just it's the judgment. You just worry that they're going to look at you. And my big fear was that if I told people that were close to me, they would look at Brandon and be like, "He's a really bad guy. You should divorce him."
Yeah.
And those thoughts were already running through my mind. And I kind of didn't want it to go that way. I wanted somebody to be like, "This is what is happening."
I mean, I really thought it was going to happen too. With everything that was going on with the paranoia, depression, and anxiety, I wanted to just run. I wanted to get out of the relationship. I didn't want to put my family through what I was going through, and I just wanted to get out. I wanted to leave and let them go, let them be.
And he said that. I remember there was one day that I don't even remember when this was, but it was on a day that it was 90 degrees outside, and we had gotten into an argument, and I was like, "Leave. You have got to get out of here. Just go." And he did. He walked, I want to say 6 to 8 miles.
Yeah.
Found him on the side of the highway, drenched in sweat. I brought him home, and I remember him saying, "Why did you come and get me? I just want to leave." But he immediately got in the hospital that night and drove himself to the hospital. So the next phone call that I received from them, he was in the hospital. Which was very wise on his part, all things considered, totally a God thing, because he was in no state of mind to be making decisions for himself. And I remember, go ahead, you were going to say.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, I was in the hospital. I got let out, and then I was back in there again. I
think it actually happened 3 different times that summer.
3? Okay, I know one of the times I was in for about 14 days, and I missed Benny's birthday, his first birthday. And that killed me. I remember being in the hospital, and it was awful. It was one of the worst feelings I've ever felt, missing your son's first birthday. But it happened, and
it did. I remember lamenting to God too, pleading with him, "What do you want from me? I have been a faithful follower. I have stuck by Brandon through all this. What do you want from me? When are you going to let this subside?" And it didn't. From the summer of 2016, so what we saw in the summer of 2016 was largely the mania side of bipolar for Brandon. So the aggression and the rage and the impulsivity. And so that was kind of going like this. And then we reached the pinnacle. And then as high as you go, the lower you fall. So from, I would say, September of 2016 until late winter of 2017, he was in a horrible depression.
Yeah, I wouldn't get up off the couch. I mean, I remember working and going there, and everybody, like when you feel bad, it's like it's normal for everybody to just put on a smiling face. It's just like that's what everybody does just to get through the day. That's what I was doing. I was empty. I did not feel one thing. When I woke up in the morning, felt nothing. Went to work, felt nothing. I come home. I remember Abby trying to bring some kind of normalcy to our family and have like these little dance parties or whatever. And I remember her playing Maroon 5 and another band. I can't remember what the other band is. But
Judah and the Lion.
Yeah, Judah and the Lion. Yeah. So they would get up and start dancing, and I'd be holding Benny, and I'd try to bounce and everything, and I just felt numb. I did not feel one thing at all.
Yeah. It was hard to get him to participate in absolutely any aspect of our life. Like it was enough for him to just exist at that point.
Yeah, I was just laying on the couch a lot and not doing anything until I had to get up in the morning and go to work and do it all over again.
And the other side of that was that when Brandon was in constant contact with a team of physicians, with a therapist, with a psychiatrist.
I still am.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But it's finding the perfect medication combo was an incredible challenge. Like, I mean, that started when he was 18. Like you try this, try that. Let's pair these together. Let's pull this away. Oh, this is giving you that side effect. Try this.
I mean, also, like when I was younger and stuff, I was stupid. I didn't understand how medication worked. You have to take it the way the doctor tells you to take it. So I was taking it, every other day here and there. I would miss a dose of medication at night. I would take it in the morning, which is not a good idea either. Makes you tired. At least the medication that I take. So it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. And so then you got put on 3 meds that worked really well together.
Yes.
But even from that point, it still took a good, 4 months for that to get into his system and do what it needed to do. Right. And in the meantime, Brandon was getting counseling. I started seeing a counselor.
I just had a therapy appointment this morning.
So. And I'm not seeing mine right now because she can only do virtual appointments, and there's no way I can do virtual appointments right now. I'm like, Betty, I have 4 kids.
Right.
There's just I can't have girls on all day. They're not going for that. But anyway, we think therapy is such a huge help. We had support afterwards. I think once we were more vocal about it, we had a lot of support. A lot of people.
They understood. They understood why things were happening in our family, why we didn't go out and why, Abby, you didn't call people, certain people. Yeah. And then when we started telling people what was going on, then they finally, I think they started to understand, what was going on.
And we realized that there were a lot of people, just like when Hope was talking the other day, that were like, me too. You would not believe the messages that we received that were like, oh my gosh, I'm struggling, or my spouse is struggling, my son is struggling, my daughter's struggling, this person committed suicide. It's so prevalent, and we have hit it for so long. And I think that we are coming of age in the mental health world where finally we're talking about it, and we're like, it's okay to feel that way. Talking about it, putting your story out there, relating to other people is just as important as medication and therapy visits and all of the above.
Right, yeah. I say, yeah, that's it right there, man.
That's it. And I think this is important to know too. Brandon's never going to be cured. I just heard y'all say this too. Yeah. We're in maintenance mode, and we're not perfect all the time. No. At all. No. There are still some days that I'm like, oh my gosh, you're driving me nuts, and I do this feel the same way about me. Yeah. But we have better coping mechanisms now. Y'all were saying some of the things that you do. I think one of the most important things that we do is have date nights. Yeah. So it's kind of good for us to do stuff like that we're doing with you right now, because we cannot leave our house and do that.
Mm-hmm. I'm a runner for the house. I go out in the public and I deal with people every single day. And then I got to go to Target today. And I called her from Target. And she's like, what are you talking about? You're at Target. I want to go to Target.
Tell her I miss her.
Yeah. But everything. I mean, it was awful. 2016 was bad, but we did come out of it, and a stronger couple than.
Oh yeah. And there's peaks and valleys. Like I said, Brandon's never going to be cured. It's more about this maintaining, managing it. Taking your meds when you're supposed to, and taking care of yourself, and communicating. Brandon knows now that he has a net of people that he can go to talk about. When he's feeling some type of way, and it doesn't just have to be me. And I know I'm not the perfect wife all the time. Like sometimes my empathy runs out and I'm just stressed to the max, and I know that I don't do Brandon justice, but that is, it's so important to just be there for your spouse and like try to understand. And it's hard because I do not struggle with depression or anxiety. I just don't. Yeah. It's not in my DNA. It's not how I was made.
Which is good. Because obviously if we both did, it wouldn't work out. It wouldn't work out. But yeah, I'll still come home from work. Even when I go to work now, it's just, I get so stressed out about about a lot of things. But I come home and I talk to her about everything, and I'll talk to my mom about things. Then obviously, I'll go to therapy a couple times every week, or every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks is when I go. But yeah, so Abby's a big help in that area. Just being able to come home and talk to her. Yeah.
Well, thank you. So, yeah. It's just, first of all, incredibly brave for you guys to always be so willing to share your story, and the amount of people that you help every single time just by telling your story. I can't even imagine. And so that's kind of like my first question for you is, so many people, even though I do think it's becoming more common that, people are okay to talk about these things, but I know that I even still struggle, and I feel pretty comfortable talking about it. And I've talked about my struggle with panic and anxiety a lot, but every time I get ready to talk about it, I still struggle and battle with, oh, but you're being weak. Oh, but you're being weak. Oh, but you're being weak. It's always in the back of my mind. However, it has gotten easier. So how did you guys get to a point, for people maybe who are watching, or they're still struggling with even telling their closest family members, or they don't want to talk about, this to anybody? First of all, how do you get to a point where you're ready to talk about it? And does it get easier the more that you do share? Can you just kind of shed some light or give some tips to people who maybe are feeling like they still aren't to that place yet?
Honestly, I just got so tired of feeling like I was hiding. And it's an awful feeling walking out into public and having a panic attack out in public, or having having your heart feel like it's beating out of your chest and not being able to tell somebody about that. So I finally just got tired of it, and I was just like, I'm gonna come out and tell everybody, it's not gonna bother me anymore. And the more I tell people, the easier it is to tell.
It takes the power away from it,
right?
I think.
Yeah.
For me, this is it's not going to be helpful to anybody. I don't care. I really just don't care. I think that there are so many benefits to sharing that God has given us this platform to do such a thing that I just don't care. Somebody told me during all of this that other people's opinions of you don't matter. And there has never been a truer statement said. Other people's opinions of you, they don't matter. They just don't. And Brandon is important to me. We like to think of it as the circle mentality. And it's me and Brandon in the circle, and our kids, that's us. And then it's everybody else. Our family gets that outer circle, and then everybody else. And unless you are in that circle with me and Brandon and Beckham and Faith and Ben and Charlie, you don't matter. And we have to do the best thing for the 6 people in that circle. And I know that's probably not helpful because you have to get there, but that's just how I feel. I would rather know that we helped one person. If there was just one person that was oh my gosh, I was at my wit's end. I heard your all story. I went and got help. I spoke to a therapist. I drove myself to the hospital. That's the bottom line at the end of the day.
That's the other thing too, is that when we did finally come out and share our story, I can't remember if we shared it with our church first.
Brandon
I ended up writing about it.
Oh yeah.
And
yes, you did.
When I wrote about it, there were so many people that came to Abby, and they were like, this is me too. This is what I'm going through. Thanks so much for having him share his story. So I said, I was just tired of hiding in the dark about hiding all these things that I was going through. And in the end, it did help people. It helped them come out of their own.
And another God thing too happened when Brandon had actually told me, he's like, I really feel like we need to share this with the church, with some of the members of our church. So we met with our pastor and another pastor, and that was probably in the fall of 2017, and then early spring 2018 or late winter, they reached out to us and they were like, hey, we've actually been putting together a mental health series, and we'd like you guys to share your story publicly with the church. And it was, again, just a God thing that we got that opportunity to do it and to share. And I don't even like to be like, we touched people that way. I just feel like we were called to do it and we did it. And we were grateful for the opportunity to speak to people on that level.
Yeah, I remember that video. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was so good. My question for you guys, number one, Brandon, I mean, I identify with a lot of what you were saying, just being there, not really knowing if you're enjoying the moment, you're just present, you're barely existing. I totally feel you on that. The other thing is, I don't know if you're like this or you've been like this before, but I've been like this where I feel like I am communicating and I am sharing, but I'm still holding a lot back. What would you encourage people to do with that? Do you think that's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it can be a good thing. I think there's not going to be everybody's not going to be ready to come out and share everything that they're going through. So I even questioned myself when I shared with our church, because it was such a huge. It reached so many people. I mean, I would have people coming up to me in the public and being like, "Hey, man, I saw your story. Thanks a lot for sharing," but it made me uncomfortable too. So, yeah, I mean, that's I don't know. It's a good thing, but I
do think, Brandon, I don't know if this is the direction that you were going with that question too, is that sometimes like he doesn't want to share everything with me that he's going through because he knows that sometimes my response will be like, "Oh my gosh," or "this again," or whatever it might be.
Yeah, because it happens all the time.
It does.
Like an everyday thing, really.
And unfortunately with bipolar, when you have anxiety to the level that Brandon does, when you are bipolar, you cannot treat anxiety with anxiety meds because anxiety meds can send you into mania. Mm-hmm. So Brandon's anxiety largely goes untreated. So he totally has to cope with that 100% on his own, which is such a challenge. I mean, every single day for him, a lot of self-talk, like a lot of, this is not true, this is not real, this is not right. And a lot of talking to me. We have a lot of conversations about anxiety.
I try to lay it off on my mom, but it's not the same.
No, but I love what you said about you feel like, the Lord has allowed y'all to be able to use your story to help others. And I think that is so true for every single human being. I think that people, sometimes feel like they have to wait for a platform or they have to wait for the right opportunity. But somebody else can find strength in your struggle. And I think that's so important for everyone to know. That's why it's so important to, like Brandon said and Wade said, sometimes it's not easy to share and sometimes you don't want to. And that's completely, your prerogative. And that's for you to decide when it is your time. But when you do feel like it is your time, even if it's with one other human, one other person, share your story because your story could literally change the life of somebody else. You don't have to have hundreds of people listening or a platform where things are going to be shared or whatever it may be. Because I know when I was struggling with postpartum depression, I was just searching for one. I just needed one person to have the same story that I had. And what I'm coming to realize now is that a lot of women did. They just didn't share that side. It was a behind the scenes type of thing because like all of us have talked about, it is hard to share. It is hard to admit that you do have moments of weakness and you're not perfect, which, now that all of us have shared so much, we're like, that's so silly anyways, right? But even if you can share your story with one other person, that could completely change their lives. And I think that sometimes we think that power comes in numbers. And that's just not the reality of sharing your story, whatever your struggle may be, whatever you faced. I
mean, both of you guys are incredible, to have known each other for so long.
That's crazy. That's crazy, y'all.
And to be together for so long and have amazing kids and the relationship that you still have. I mean, when you get married, it's a lifetime commitment, right? And you guys have definitely showed that through the ups and the downs and the fun times and the not so good times and the confusing times. And you don't even know if your head's up or down. Like, how do you do it? I just
Do we have an answer for that?
There is no answer for that, man. It's like a day-to-day thing, like an hour to hour,
day by day, by day.
Yeah. I don't even know. It's just like
you just have to show up.
Yeah,
you just got to show up. And I've been hearing it a lot lately. Do the next right thing, and I really feel like that has been.
Yeah.
We can't look too far in the future because right now you really can't. No. But we can't look too far in the future just because we don't know what the day to day is going to be like. I mean, with 4 kids, things are constantly changing. You know, the things between us are constantly changing. We just take it day by day. I mean, truly, that is what we do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and just one last thing before I forget, because I forget things a lot. And I think I already forgot what I was going to say.
I got something. So maybe tap your nose and maybe it'll come back. Good. They say that's a strategy.
Tapping.
So I love what y'all said earlier about dating your spouse. And I think that is so important for relationships, is to make time. And people might say, oh, I have too many kids. Okay. But I have too many kids. I don't have time. That's the problem. If you're having problems, you know, in your, that's what we find, is that when we're having outside other problems that we don't usually have, most of it goes back to the fact that we're not making time for one another. And so I don't care what you have to do, you got to make time. But I'm curious during the quarantine, especially, what are y'all doing to date your spouse? We need all the ideas.
I've always heard that, like, the best gift that you can give your kids is a good marriage. Like, that is the best thing that you can give your kids. And we failed at that miserably for a long time. When 2016 happened, I really felt like once we came out of that fog, and we went to a marriage therapist too, and we got some strategies and some skills for increasing communication, but date nights that's our thing. Like, we truly go on date nights. We are very blessed to have both sets of parents that live very, very close to us. They can't wait to get their hands on their grandkids right now. So we're just going to, like, door drop them as soon as the quarantine is lifted in Kentucky.
Right.
Like, bye, even 7 days. But we go on a lot of date nights. And when we can't do that, like, our older children, so they are 11, 6, and 4, like, doing what they're doing right now, we've been able to actually do that quite a bit during quarantine, where we're like, hey, we're going to put a movie on. We don't care how much technology time you have had today. Like, you guys can go watch a movie, eat some popcorn, eat all the Skittles you can find in the house. Like, we need some time alone. And I feel like we've done that quite a bit since we've been in quarantine, or at least once a week, I would think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Our kids eat all kinds of candy. Screen time. What you got to do? You know?
But yeah, we definitely carve out the time to do things with one another. And we'll do day dates too. So, like, it doesn't just have to be at night, whenever we can find the time. So, like, if all the kids are in school, Charlie doesn't talk yet, so he can come. Like, he's fine. So we can bring him along, and we can still have, like, a valuable conversation with one another. But that, I mean, dates are, like, our thing. I feel like that's our therapy. Like, since we are not involved in marriage therapy currently, but to me, like, that's such a valuable investment. And it doesn't have to be spending a whole lot of money, going on a walk, you know, anything that's just, like, time where the two of you are alone and connect and just spend some one-on-one time together.
Yeah, I think that's so important. Well, you guys, y'all are so amazing. We always love spending time with y'all. I wish that Instagram gave us longer than an hour, but I know y'all got food waiting. Y'all got a date night planned tonight, so we're going to let you get to that. But seriously, Brandon, Abby, thank you for being willing to share with other people, because it's so needed. People need to have that affirmation that what they're feeling is normal.
People need to know. People need to know that rock stars like you guys, like, life isn't perfect.
Yep.
I mean, we saw it Monday night with Kara, Amelia, and Hope, and just understanding that, I mean, we're all out here and we all have different struggles and obstacles we have to come through. I mean, people aren't alone, and I think that's what it boils down to. No one is alone in this world, and you just have to look for it. People are here to help. So thank you guys. Seriously, thank you.
Y'all are amazing. Go enjoy one another. Go enjoy your meal.
We will. You guys have a good night too. Give Maverick a little squeeze for us.
We will. Y'all do the same. We love y'all.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys. All right. They're amazing.
Times.
I told y'all they were amazing. If you haven't heard their story before, it has had such a profound impact on mine and Wade's life, and just seeing them and how they've navigated this, I've drawn so much inspiration and strength from them. So yeah, give them a lot of love in the comments, because I don't care how many times you've talked about it, how many times you've shared a story. It is never, ever, ever easy. It takes you back to really dark places that you don't want to think about.
You don't even want to talk about.
You don't even want to talk about.
Referring to it.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that, again, if you have a story, and everybody's
got a story.
Everybody has something that you struggle with.
I
hope that you start feeling, more confident to share those things, and to share those things with your friends, and to share those things with your family, and to open up dialogue and conversation, because the more that we all open up about our struggles, the more we're going to realize realize that this world is filled with imperfect people, and we're taking off the pressure of the perfectionist idea or perspective that doesn't even exist, because we're all striving for this false reality that doesn't even happen.
One thing that I do want to capitalize on, though, is also, I mean, if you're going through a struggle, no one deserves for you to take your struggle out on them. Yeah. And that's why communication is super important. Acknowledging it, opening up to it.
As hard as it is.
But then also being there for others when they need you to.
Yeah. So, again, keeping, like Wade said, keeping those lines of open communication, explicitly stating what you need from your spouse. You even heard it from Abby and Brandon, how you just have to literally lay it on the line, tell them what it is that you need. And also, for someone who doesn't struggle, because I know for the longest time I did not struggle with anxiety or, depression. This came with me with age. And so it was really hard for me to understand with Wade. And I would always think, oh, you can get over it. You can get over it. You can control your mind. You can't. It's just like a sickness. You don't tell someone, oh, get over your cancer. Oh, get over your asthma. Get over whatever it is that you're struggling with physically. This is the same exact concept.
Yeah, don't ever tell someone to just go get some sunshine, run, and Jesus. Because that's not, Jesus can do miraculous things, right?
Absolutely.
But he also
and
gave
all of those
us
things can
he also gave us a good
mechanism.
brain
right.
to use our brain and to acknowledge what we're going through and seek the help that he's provided for us.
Yeah. So reach out to your friends, reach out to people, have accountability partners, but most importantly, don't be afraid to talk about it.
Right.
And know that what you're feeling, there's lots of other people in the world feeling the exact same way. So reach out to your community and find support from someone. But in order to get support, you've got to reach out and let them know that you need it. So there is nothing wrong with letting people know your needs and explicitly stating those things.
All right,
you guys. Well, another great episode from my soul. I know I need this during this time because change is not great for me. I struggle with it.
But you've been doing really good with it.
So hopefully it's helped some of you guys too. But we will be back Friday night. Battery's down on the phone. We will be back Friday night with another episode. We'll let you guys know what's coming at you. We have so many people lined up, but we're just trying to arrange schedules and get everything set for you guys.
So fun.
We can't wait to see y'all Friday night. Have a wonderful night tonight and a beautiful Thursday, and we will see you guys soon. Until next time, everybody.
Bye, guys. Bye.